Welcome everybody to a brief kind of improv guide on what I've heard called light drifting, soft drifting. I'll probably call it soft drifting in the title and thumbnail because I think that's what it's called in Mario Kart. But for the purposes of this video, to minimize confusion, I'm just gonna say slight drifting because I've heard both light drifting and soft drifting used for this technique, so I'm just gonna combine them for the purposes of this. So basically, with every vehicle except I believe Slick, there's a technique you can do to like kind of you lose less speed while steering, which isn't what I'm doing now. What I'm doing right now is called snaking. It's not that effective on most vehicles. But the idea with snaking, and I think is important to understand with this, is that you lose less speed when charging a drift if you are turning. Like, hold on, let's get to like max speed here. So I'm getting to about 21 there, where it's like if I do that here, you can see my speed immediately drops. And slight drifting is something you can do on top of that, where, let's just do demonstration. If you're holding forward and you're seeing this red flashing animation and you face plant into the ground, that means you're within an angle that would allow you to slight drift. This is a visual indicator, and when you're slight drifting, you lose less speed, but you have a worse turning angle. Like, your turns will be a lot wider. You can generally expect to save about 1 to 2 miles or kilometers an hour doing this properly. I don't know what it is in miles per hour. It's mostly used on vehicles like Warp Star and Vampire Star. Apparently it is particularly useful for Vampire Star's unenhanced form, but it can be used elsewhere. I know on like icy areas like Frozen Hillside, as well as downhill segments in maps like Amber Falls or Caverns, it can let Warp Star snake properly, which it normally struggles to do that without the freeze copy ability. But if we go to Steam Gust Forge, I think there... Why do I have a Kirby layout time? Anyways, if we go to like Steam Gust Forge with Shadow, I'm using Shadow here because I main Shadow. I think there's a good example of something we can do here. Slight drifting isn't that practical for Shadow, but it's worth noting that if you are holding forward, you don't have to do the hold forward the entire turn. Like right here, I'm just kind of doing normal snaking, which is better for Shadow. But right here, I'm going to turn normally and then turn on slight drifting mid-turn. And what that can do is you can get most of your turn angle normal like this. Okay, bad example, I turned like shit there. But you can kind of turn on slight drifting mid-turn technically, and not have to suffer the downsides of the worst turn angle. So, let's just go back to Nebula Belt, repeat right quick. If I'm talking fast, feel free to turn the video down. I have not wrote out like a coherent script for this like I normally would. I'm just kind of yapping. Slight drifting is when charging a boost, you hold forward as you're turning left or right, because remember, you're going to want to turn a bit left or right anyways. And you'll know you're within the right angle if you're within the angle that this effect occurs, but this effect only occurs if you're not doing a charge boost. Interestingly, whenever I'm messing around with it on D-pad, I can't not be in this angle. I struggle a lot with getting out of this angle, because I D-pad to steer. But if you're having trouble with it on stick, practice like steering around a track while staying within this angle, and you should get the angle that is correct pretty quickly. Like, I've switched to doing stick here, which you can probably see a bit in my steering. And with that, you'll lose a bit less speed. I'm no expert on this, I just noticed someone asked me for feedback on this, so I decided to make a video tutorial. If anyone has any more feedback to give, feel free to leave it in the comments. I can also try to answer any questions, because I do kind of know what I'm talking about with Warp Star, although I am not a Warp Star player. See y'all.